Good afternoon, and welcome to Inside Politics on BusinessDay TV. I'm Minio Bangiwok. The clamor for increased representation of women in Nigerian political space has once again come to the fore, as stakeholders await the outcome of the reserved seat bill currently before the National Assembly. The bill, also referred to as additional or reserved seat bill, seek to alter the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide reservation for women in the national and state houses of assembly to address the low number of women in the legislature. If passed into law, the bill will address the long-standing concern of women on their representation in governance and decision-making by ensuring that these special seats are to be contested and filled by women only as a temporary measure to boost their representation. The bill proposes the creation of one special seat for women per senatorial district and for one per federal constituency to be contested by women in general election, of which they will have the same privilege and responsibilities as existing members. All right, how feasible is that special seat for women? That is what we'll be discussing today on Inside Politics. I have my guests all the way from Ilorin, Kwara State. I have Ahmed Adebowale. He's a civil society actor and gender advocate. I also have joining me from Rivers State is our regular guest, Olalekan Ige, political analyst and also a journalist. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much and good afternoon.
Of course, we had a female supposed to be on the program. You'll be wondering this kind of issues that concern women. We don't have a female representation. We had a woman that's supposed to be on the program, a politician. I guess she had urgent travel to Abuja this morning, so she couldn't join. I'm sure she will be on the program some other time. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, Mr. Okay. Let me just read some of the highlights of the bill being proposed here. I think it has passed through the second reading in the National Assembly in the committee stage now. Some weeks ago, several stakeholders were at the National Assembly to make their input into the bill. Some of the highlights of the bill said in the 109 member seats, that's in the Senate now, in each of the 36 states, including the federal capital territory, we have additional senatorial seats reserved for women. That's 37 women will be added to the chamber, to the Senate chamber now, increasing the number of members, senator to 146. In the House of Rep, there will be additional seats for each state and federal capital territory for women, reserved especially for women, meaning 37 more women will be added to the House of Rep, which will bring the number to 397 members. At the subnational level, that's at the state level, state assemblies will have a special seat reserved for women from the 3 senatorial districts for each state, ensuring that more women are elected into the state assemblies. So this does not stop women from contesting for other positions. You can contest, but this special seat that will be created will be for women only. But you can contest for position in the House of Rep, in the Senate, from other 3 senatorial positions which existed before, and the House of Rep seats. Women can also contest. Mr. Olalekan, what is your take on this bill?
Well, I don't think there's anything bad in it. If you have to increase women representation in the parliament, I'm in favor of it. I'm sure you know this has its own advantages and disadvantages. But then, if we look at it on a balance of scale, I think the advantages far outweigh the disadvantage. So I'm completely in support for us to have more women in parliament. I'm in support of it.
Ahmed, all the way from Ilorin, you have been a gender advocate. You've been advocating for this for some time. What has been the issue over the years? We've seen few number of Nigerian women elected into. The number has dropped since 1999. Since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, we had, I think in 1999, we had 15 women were elected into the National Assembly. And I think we had 3 in the Senate and 12 in the House of Rep. In the 5th Assembly, 203 to 207, we had 27 women elected into the National Assembly. In the 6th Assembly, in 2007 to 2011, we had 34 women, about 7.2%. In 2011 to 2015, we have 26 women elected into Nigeria Parliament, about 5.5%. In 2015 to 2019, we have 23 women. That's the 8th Assembly now. 23 women elected, 5%. In the 9th Assembly, 2019 to 2023, the number come down again to 21 women, 4.5%. In the 4th, that's the 10th Assembly, which we are now, 2023 to 2027, we have only 18 women in the National Assembly, 4 senators, and 14 House of Rep member. What is your take, sir? Ahmed.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, Mr. Olaleke and the rest of. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. It's an opportunity, right? And it's not a very brilliant question that you asked me, because over the years we've been clamoring for women representation in our political system, and such a very that kind of bill is actually coming at a very critical time where we are having a decline in women representation, not even in politics alone, in all spaces of life. We see you don't need to use the organization that we have, women that we are not actually discriminating most of the time, do not necessarily, or most of the time, discriminate against them. But when you see in every other phases of life, you discover that women have discriminated, particularly to get to some certain position. Now, let's talk about politics. Given the numbers, the data that you have been given this morning, you discover that we have actually, recorded a decline in representation. So this is a very, critical bill. And the arrangement of how many people are going to be represented is actually also good, because it's going to reflect the reality of our country, so that it's going to create the balance required to see everybody in every region, being represented, particularly women in that region. Thank you.
All right. We also have Adenike Ajiboye joining us. She's a political analyst and a broadcaster here in Lagos State. Good to have you. Good afternoon, Adenike.
Good afternoon. Good to join you on the program.
Of course, you can't discuss issues that concern women, and you don't have them joining on the program. So I have to make sure. Thank God you join us.
All right, that's
this is an issue that concerns women, and you're a woman.
Yes. Well, I must say this is a very good topic. If we look at Africa, let's look at Africa. If you female representation, really, the rate is quite low, and the reason is not far-fetched. Judging from the National Assembly, talking about the 2023 National Assembly, you found out that out of the 109 Senate seats, you have only about 3% of women. 3, yes. And if you look at the House of Representatives, right, out of the 360, you have only 17 females. And I think this is quite low, which is about 4.5%. But if you look at African countries like Rwanda, you find out that they have about 61%, while in South Africa, it is about 4.5.
Yeah, 46%.
I think 45%.
Yeah. Continue. You can continue. I'm hearing you.
So for me, I feel the time is right, and I feel that women should be encouraged, and I also feel that we should start from the political parties themselves, you will understand or you realize that in most cases, even judging from the funds of these parties, these political parties, when you are contesting for one position or the other, the money is way too much. And then you find out eventually most women cannot really afford these amounts of money. So there's a lot of challenges that is not making women to come forward. And even when they come forward, who are those supporting them? You find out that politics in Nigeria, it's still very difficult for you to separate money politics from it. So you just have to have enough money, because when you look at funds of millions of naira, how many women can actually afford this? You understand me? And even when you look at different careers, you begin to wonder how females will come out. So women have been relegated to the background. I'm talking about gender equity. I think it would just be right for more women to be supported and having seats at the parliament.
All right. Let me go to Ahmed now, who has been a gender advocate for a while. What is the issue in Ilorin there? I know contesting and winning election in Nigeria has become difficult for women because of the violence and so much involved. Nika just raised the issue of money politics, which have also affected the number of women who are contesting and winning election. Our political system has been monetized over the years. If you don't have billions or somebody money back sponsoring somewhere, you can never. It's very difficult for you to win an election. Considering the huge amount of money involved in winning, even to buy party form, to buy ticket, you have to pay so much. Not talk of having a polling agent across the state. We're contesting for a governor. What is the situation in Kwara State? What is your experience monitoring election that women have contested? What have stopped them over the years from winning election?
The question is for me, right?
Yes, Ahmed, yes.
All right, thank you so much. Because I was trying to get the question, you were asking what has been the
challenge women have faced, women position have faced, yes,
for women to contest elections.
What has been the challenge they have faced
the money
winning
yes,
election?
apart from the money politics that has been in existence, there's also cultural norms that relegate women from participating to lead position, particularly in Kwara State. Because of the understanding that as a woman you have to be in your husband's kitchen. Your responsibilities. You're not supposed to be at that front, and that is what is happening. That is what, even if we are actually, as civil regulation, we are championing gender equality. It is always we're always very, very careful, because it is that kind of conversation is sensitive in Kwara State. Gender equality is a sensitive conversation in Kwara State, particularly when we're talking about environment that are core. So most of the time, it also affects the political landscape and giving an opportunity for women to participate in election. So apart from the money part of it, the fact that why should it be a governor? Why should women be our representative? Why should this be this? It's also there. So that is the challenge that has been in existence.
Of the religious nature. I mean, Islam and all that. I schooled in Ilorin. I understand now.
Of course, connected with cultural understanding or context in that environment. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Rivers State and speak to Ale Koinge. Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
In the south, yeah, there seem to be, try the south. Women, we are seeing more women contest election. There's no, I think the cultural barriers have not there, but you can't say compared to what we have in Kwara State, the north, that Ahmed is talking about. What is the situation in Kwara, in Rivers State, women contesting election and winning? What have held them back, and how has it been? Recent years, you've seen a drop in number of women.
It's been that of a mixed reaction.
Yes.
I would say that in the present House of Assembly in Rivers State, I think we have just about 2 women, in the Rivers State House of Assembly.
How many members do we have in the House?
There are 32 members of Rivers State House of Assembly presently. I think we'll just have only 2 women in the Rivers State, House of Assembly.
Wow.
And out of the 13 House of Reps states that we have in Rivers State, only one is a woman. Then out of the 3 senatorial seats in the River State, 1 is a woman. So out of the 3 senators, we have 1 that is a woman. Out of the 13 House of Rep seats, we have 1 that is a woman. And out of the 32-member River State House of Assembly, we have 2 that are women. However, recently, local government elections were conducted in River State, and all the vice chairmen of the 23 local governments in River State are women. So you could say, in terms of local government administration, women have some inroads because of the 23 local government vice chairmen, 23 are female, women are women.
Okay, all of them are women. All the vice chairmen are women. It was reserved for women.
23 vice chairmen, yes,
Wow.
all the 23 vice chairmen are women. So you could say, look, they've been able to make a major inroads,
a major breakthrough.
Governments at the, at the local government level. And I can say that of all the local governments, too, at least 3 women are councillors in each of the local government areas. That was a consensus, effort to at least have 3 women in each of the local government areas. So if you look at it very well, there are 319 wards, 319 electoral wards in Rivers State, and out of that 319, we have about 69 or 70 or thereabout, that are women.
Okay, do you think without this legislation in place, women can win election? Can they? You think we can't do without it? Because you just mentioned the example of Rivers State where you say, maybe it appears there was a special agreement that all the vice should be women. Do you think this is what we need across the country? And without this, it will be difficult. Just like the numbers are telling us now, there's a drop in number of women who are elected into the parliament at the federal, at the state level.
Sure.
Do you need without this? Do you think without this drop, without these laws in place, or with agreement like this in place, the situation will not improve, or may get worse?
No, I think a law reserving seats for women in the parliament will strengthen their position. Remember that it is the political parties that are vehicles. They are the platforms upon which people aspire into elective positions. And without making it a law, you'll find out that a lot of political parties may still foot drag, especially when it comes to giving opportunities for women to contest election. But we have a law. A law now makes it mandatory. And I hope and pray that in that law, it also be clearly stated that any political party that does not fulfill the requirements as stated by the law, for women to contest election, such political party should not be allowed to contest general elections in Nigeria. We need to put a clause that will ensure that political parties are now forced, by the law to have women, contest for elective position. Because without that, some political parties may not even want to pay. But once they know that it's mandatory,
yes,
to have such a reservation, once they know that it's mandatory for them to have it and be able to contest general election, I'm sure political parties will now make it mandatory to ensure that they fulfill what the law says before they can contest for general elections.
Let me go to Nike. Nike, you're in Lagos State. I know you've covered so many elections here in Lagos State. But I also know that the Lagos State House of Assembly, you have only 3, I think maybe 40 members, we have only 3 who are women. And we know the challenges that women have faced in contesting election in Lagos State. What has been your experience so far? Women who have contested election, some of the challenges they faced, and why we have this number. Hello, Nike. Are you there? Hello? Hello, Nike. We seem to have lost Nike there. Okay. Let me go back to Ahmed. Ahmed.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. So are you confident that that this situation can change? Do you believe in what Olalekan just said, that we need an sort of, there's a university was just making a point where there was an agreement where that all the vice vice chairman should be women, female. Do you think that is what we need to change these numbers?
Thank you so much.
Without this, probably the number will get worse. Things will not change.
The reason, to begin with, I align with what Mr. Olalekan said, because even from the standpoint of a civil society organization person, CSO person, I can tell you that most of the time we're always interested in policy change, policy advocacy, because we believe that with that, it's going to be binded in law, not just in good faith. So we don't want to leave the fate of our women into just run a set of people deciding, okay, you go there, you go and do, don't, you cannot take this particular role, go to something lesser. So when law is now, binding them to do the needful, to give women equal representation as expected, I think that way is going to also give them that sense of belonging required. And about whether or not it's going to, cause just number growing and all of that. You see, for me, we have the numbers. And when you look at it also, you will discover that the numbers that are even representing us, when you look at the standpoint, you see, for instance now, from Kwara State now, we have 3 senatorial districts, Kwara North, Kwara South, and Kwara Central. So the Kwara Central, 4 local government, Kwara North, 4 local government, and Kwara South, we have close to 7 local government. So now, talking about that kind of arrangement, we can still try to modify to be able to, integrate women, not necessarily have additional number. We can probably, maybe there's a way they go about it to be able to have a balance, to be able to have women, being represented. That way, whatever that has to do with women will be able to champion, advance the cause as it pains them. Because even we that we are actually advocating for gender, for women gender, we discover that we have been seen as most of the time, looking at where we have learning, for instance, women rapper, people that are, you don't have a voice. Why women? Because we believe women should also have a say. So that is the thing. So when the law is binding this particular idea, it's going to give that balance and also give them a room to have a voice where it is needed.
Do we have Nika back? Nika, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I was just asking, our time is almost over. I was just asking what the situation in Lagos State. What has been the situation in Lagos State? I know we have only 3 members in the Lagos State Assembly who are female. Quickly, within 1 minute, could you tell us, you've been covering election for so many years now. What has been the challenge women have faced? I know violence is pronounced in our election. What has been your experience so far that have held women back? On the field report now.
Well, like I told you earlier, I talked about the funds aspect.
Beyond the funds aspect
culture, now. I think culture also plays a role in the sense that there are so many people who believe, for instance, talk about churches, talk about mosques. These religions, sometimes they've always give prominence to men. And so for many of them, they feel that there are certain positions that women are meant to, occupy or hold. You understand? And so I think they've also brought this into this religious, perception into politics, which I think shouldn't be. Now, let's also look at our democracy. Honestly, if you ask me, democracy cannot mature to the level you and I are expecting if we don't have, high percentage of women representation when it comes to parliament. For instance, even in our homes, you'll find that for any home to be to continue to grow aright in terms of talk about even the man. You agree with me? There's a saying that says behind every successful man, there's a woman. So if we have this mentality that there's a lot a woman can do, then we will begin to see reason why women must be well represented.
All right. Let me cut you there due to time. You can't run away from the fact that you have to solve these things, some of the issues that look at what happened in 2023 election. Some of the challenges, the violence that was unleashed on the voters. How will a woman be able to? A lot of people were afraid to come out. Actually, I think these are the issues I wanted you to say.
Academic experience then, because even the society, there's a lot of sensitization that we should begin to do, because even the ordinary market woman, the ordinary man on the streets, they all believe that it is the man that can spend the money. So there's no way, there's no background a woman is coming from. In most cases, you still have to have the support of the male politicians. If the male politicians are not giving you support, then it's a problem. You can't even have your space there. Do you understand? So, but I think going forward, what should be is that there should be a kind of quota right from the political parties in their primaries. They should give them a percentage that must be occupied by women. I think that is just the right place to start. Once they know that social percentage has been given for women in parliament, then they will know that they will have to give these women opportunity for them to contest. Either they have the money or not. Either they reduce the form amount for women in comparison to the men. Because how many women are even ready to go? Another one is timing. Do you understand? Most women, again, they want to, they want to be responsible in their homes. And what time do politicians also meet? You are talking of
1
wee
a.m.
hours.
1 a.m. 2 a.m. That is when they meet. 1 a.m.
Then they have their meetings. And the society also believes a lot of women in politics, they tag them as prostitutes. Do you understand? So there are so many issues to deal with for women to begin to take their place and be well represented in parliament.
All right, thank you very much. Our time is up. Let me just go to Olalekan. But a lot of people believe this bill will not be passed by the National Assembly. We saw similar bill being knocked down National Assembly in 2022. I don't know if you have any reservations about this bill. Just within a seconds, do you have any reservation that this bill will be passed by the National Assembly?
I don't have any reservations. I think for now everything is on course. I think women should also start some subtle advocacy. The wife of the president is a woman. They can begin to advocate, get across. Of course, women are powerful enough to be able to influence certain decisions in their favor. So while the bill is going on in the National Assembly, they can begin to lobby and advocate, lobby powerful people to support the bill at the National Assembly.
Thank you very much. We're looking at the feasibility of special seats for women by the bill in National Assembly, which is being worked on, and stakeholders have actually made input. A lot of us are hoping that National Assembly can pass that, because the numbers are not smiling. Of course, Nigeria is not even in the top 30 countries in Africa when you talk about women representation in politics at the national level, with 3.83% of women that we have at the parliament level, both at the state and at the federal level. Nigeria is not within the first 30 in Africa. That's the program for this week. My name is Inyo Bongiwo. You can tune in to your YouTube channel to watch our previous editions. Stay tuned to BusinessDay Television. Good afternoon.